Hey there, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at some of the ways you can be tempted, influenced, persuaded in the setting of a supermarket. And the reason we're going to do that is there's a ton of research and engineering that goes into this situation. And what I want to do with this example is think about what it would be like if you had a goal that you were really interested in, that you thought was really good for you, that was marketed to you and offered to you in the same way that Coca-Cola is in the context of a supermarket. So the example we're going to use is push-ups, but you can substitute any goal you want in here. And we're going to go through all these examples in the supermarket and think about what it would be like if you had doing 100 push-ups a day marketed to you as effectively as Coca-Cola is in a supermarket setting. All right, let's dive in and take a look at some of the techniques used by people to try to get you to change your behavior in a supermarket. We're going to start by looking at a company called retailerin. This company attempts to show supermarkets exactly what's happening inside the store when someone walks around different aisles and how long they spend in each section. Let's take a look at some of the language they use and the visualizations they have for the way their product works. Here we can see a pathway of someone coming into the store. They walk in the store and they proceed in a counterclockwise direction, which we're going to learn more about later apparently, around the supermarket. That's how people like to walk around supermarkets. And we have learned that they've spent 10 minutes in the dairy area, 5 minutes in the served area, 90 seconds in front of the promo end cap, and then 3 minutes at the checkout. So that's what this visualization shows. And let's have a look at some of the language they use about what happens inside a supermarket. retailerin provides a solution to a problem affecting all grocery stores, which typically have knowledge on the purchases made, but no visibility on what customers do inside their store. How do customers move inside my store? How many customers stop on front of a promotion? How do they interact with displays and products? How long do they interact with a given product but did not buy? This is a fundamental part of the conversion funnel, whose importance has been fully understood just in the past few years. How do you feel knowing that when you walk into a supermarket, you are now entering a conversion funnel from the retailer's perspective? Does that sort of change the relationship you thought you had in the supermarket? Maybe you already felt that way, or maybe that's made you feel a little uneasy. Let's keep going. retailerin allows grocery stores to fully model the shopping journey of customers, providing category-level analytics and actionable insights. Grocery stores can now precisely understand the performance of every single area of the store, including aisles, end caps, and product categories. Again, is this information new to you? Is it making you feel at all uneasy? Or maybe you think, look, I've already heard this before. They do all this stuff online, and of course it's going to come to in stores eventually. Whatever your feelings are, have a think about what it would be like if performance in this context, to the word performance here, applied not to maximizing the number of dollars that could be extracted from your wallet, but meant the number of push-ups you did that day. What if performance at the grocery store was measured in the number of push-ups you did today? Because that's the goal you set for yourself, not maximizing the amount of high-margin junk food that you walk out of the grocery store with. Now we're going to look at a video that shows, with those sort of insights that we saw from our last example, how does that play out inside the store and affect our actual time inside a supermarket?
In Australia, we put $40 billion into supermarket cash registers every year. Supermarkets want to make it as easy as possible for us to spend our money, and they use very sophisticated applied psychology. Anthropologists have even coined a phrase, trolleyology.
I've been given what should be a very simple task. to find bread, eggs and milk in that.
Alright, so this man's about to go out looking for some common items in a supermarket. Now, what do we think is going to happen next? If you've spent any time in a few different supermarkets, you're going to have a pretty good idea. These items, despite being some of the most commonly shopped for, are not next to each other. They're not next to each other for a very good reason. Because if you want to sell as many products as possible, you're going to need to tempt people with these offers along the way. So, rather than put all the tempting products in one section that people aren't necessarily going to enter, you're going to put what are called locator items, your milk, your bread, your eggs, commonly shopped for products, and you're going to space them at different spots around the store, and you're going to make it unpredictable. Eggs are one of the easiest ones to make unpredictable because they're often unrefrigerated, which means they can be placed randomly in the middle of a seemingly unrelated aisle just to ensure you've spent a whole lot of time circling the store, walking past every promotional end cap possible before you finally give up and you say to somebody, could you tell me where the eggs are? So this is the kind of strategy that they're using to keep you tied up in the supermarket. Now, if the strategy instead was to help you get healthy foods and not waste those 5-10 minutes looking for the locator items, how many push-ups do you think you could get done in that time? And what sort of promotional messaging in the supermarket would support you to do that? If we replaced all of the end caps in a supermarket with a mat where you could get down and do some push-ups without anyone worrying you, and we replaced the specials that they had at those end caps with a suggestion to do some push-ups, and we did that in between the locator items, so you could go and get the bread, the milk, and the eggs. We're not going to make you run around the store for them, but they're going to be just on the other side of one of these push-up mats. Would you consider doing a push-up? How much more likely would you be to engage in this behavior that you've decided is healthy for yourself?
Damn, can't believe it. Beaten in a time trial by supermarket psychology. So much for my food science degree.
Businesses know what people are going to do and they do everything that they can to manage that process as possible. We're not this kind of in control, rational creature that we like to think that we are.
I still like to think that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so here's something where a lot of people get tripped up. We're not this in control, rational creature that we think we are. Oh, I still like to think that. And we all do. I know I do. And I know most people don't want to think of themselves as just some kind of lab rat to be led through a maze to buy more high margin junk food, even though that's how a lot of humans in general are viewed by a lot of people marketing these products. So what's a way to kind of think about this that actually empowers us and gives us a sense of agency while understanding these influences in the environment? I want you to think about this as a concept of temptation. We've all been tempted from time to time, and we can be prone to indulge in something that's offered to us. Maybe someone offers you a cookie and you say, sure, why not? But it's not something you would have gone out of your way to get otherwise. And that behavior is really what's being targeted here. If I offer you something that you might not have known about otherwise, or you might not have thought of, then there's at least a chance that you'd be willing to say, sure, why not? I'm a little hungry, or you seem like a nice person, maybe I'll give it a try, or whatever it is that you're using in the moment to rationalize it to yourself. Now the question is, not have you lost control of your rational mind? No, you haven't. You still made a free choice to do it. However, let's take a step back in the planning process. With your rational mind in full control, how would you design an environment so that the offerings and the temptations that come up to you in the moment are going to maximize the likelihood that you have a productive day, that you have the output that you want, that you achieve these 100 push-ups that we're all going for together? What kind of situations are you going to engineer? You're probably not going to engineer a giant advertisement for Coca-Cola. You're probably not going to engineer someone offering you a cookie. You're probably going to engineer things like a motivational speaker that you believe in who's encouraging you to do this. You're going to engineer some locations where it could be done. You're going to engineer some encouragement from friends and family to say, hey, go on, give it a go. You might engineer a logbook popping up saying, we haven't logged any push-ups today. Can you put some in now, please? Right? Now's the time to do it. Take 5 minutes out and see how many you can get done. Right? These are the kinds of prompts that effectively advertisers are giving you in order to try to push their product. So how about we use the same strategies, the same temptations, the same offerings that they're bringing to you to put your goals in place? Now you might be thinking, look, what, you want me to reorganize the retail environment? I don't own the supermarket. How's that going to happen? Well, increasingly it is going to happen, because through augmented reality, we can already send messages to ourselves in real time in other environments. We can have our phones buzzing saying it's time to do a particular behavior, even just because it knows that we're in the supermarket. But before all of that becomes commonplace, and it's seeping in, but before it all becomes commonplace, we can actually look at the digital environment that we have around us, the environment of our phone, the environment of our computer, the environment of our smart TV, and we can start to imagine all these scenarios where all these same tactics are being used to try to influence us. And I want you to think of it not just as advertisements, but as shelf placement, as product placement. And now we can actually dive into some of the tactics that are used inside the supermarket environment and draw some analogies into the digital world, so we can see, hey, that thing that seemed sort of a little bit innocent before, it really just smells like this kind of sales strategy, but in the context of an online environment. Here's an article from Center for Science in the Public Interest. Let's take a look what they have to say on the topic. Temptation at the checkout. The food industry's sneaky strategy for selling more. The food environment, comprised of people's surroundings and the marketing they are exposed to, influences what foods people buy and eat. Retail stores, including supermarkets, big box stores like Walmart, warehouse stores, and convenience stores, are set up to prompt people to purchase particular foods and more food through their layout, product displays, and in-store promotions. Many Americans have thought a lot about the healthfulness of their diets. Nonetheless, most also consume more calories, saturated fats, salt, and refined added sugars, and fewer fruits, vegetables, and whole grains than they are recommended for good health. Let's set aside the issue that saturated fat science is now being updated and it's not seen as such a pariah anymore. But in general, people are going to set specific nutritional goals based on the science they've read, the latest science, whatever it is, and they're going to try to achieve them, and oftentimes they're going to fall short. So what about their environment might influence them to do that or to not do that? This report examines one reason why it is so difficult to eat well in America today. Retail marketing manipulates food choices. Placement is a powerful retail marketing technique. Placement can prompt purchase. Placement at children's eye level can prompt children's requests for particular and usually unhealthy foods and beverages. So here's an interesting one, because this is the exact same kind of issue that's coming up where advertisements for certain foods are being regulated in the United Kingdom during children's programming for exactly this reason. So this is where we're looking at the digital environment being regulated because of things that are happening physically. But here the physical environment's not being regulated, right? So children can still have a whole bunch of stuff at their eye level that's got all the snacks that they really like, that's got the cartoon characters on them, because they're going to go, hey mommy, hey daddy, can I have one of these? Can I have one of these? Please, 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 can I? Right? We all know what that's like. These sorts of tactics, are there for a reason. And I want you to think, what would it be like if at the children's eye level were some of their sports heroes, maybe a little video in the aisle of one of their sports heroes doing some exercises. Have you ever seen a child see someone do some physical activity, a dance move, a sports move, and start to copy it, even if it's on TV? Well, what if we just replaced just one packet of snack bars in the aisle with a TV of people doing some exercise, so that the kid walking past it might be drawn to the colors and seek to imitate them? What if we just replaced one of them in one aisle? What do you think the behavior change would be like there? What if when your kids were watching YouTube, that the ad they saw wasn't for snack food and was for one of their sports heroes doing some push-ups? What do you think their behavior would be like? What would you pay to have their experience changed in that way? Because advertisers right now are paying a total of 40 cents an hour of time engagement with Facebook, and even less for time engagement with YouTube. So if that's what it costs, what would you pay per hour to switch all those messages out? Would you personally advertise better options to your children at that same price? Would you be willing to spend 40 cents per hour of the time that they spend online advertising specific messages to them that you thought were going to be more healthy for them? Because these tactics work, which is why they get used. So why not use them for our benefits? Why not develop products and services that do exactly as we're talking about now, which is advertising to our children the things that we want them to do in the ways that we know work. After making a series of decisions such as choosing among the 30,000 to 50,000 items in a supermarket, people are more likely to make choices against their best interests. Willpower is like a muscle that fatigues with use. And here's the crux of the matter, right? We all feel like we have a lot of self-control, and a lot of the time we do, and we also know that there's moments that we're worn down. And what these environments are doing is they're specifically designed to wear us down so that then we can be preyed upon at our most vulnerable moment. Wow, sounds like a pretty scary situation to be going into, yet we walk into it every day. And the people around us who are apparently offering us food and beverages are really trying to engineer this kind of behavior out of it. It's a bit sick, really. What we've seen today is a lot of great examples of how to really adjust behavior, how to give yourself the opportunity to take behaviors that you might think are healthful and put them into an almost alien context, doing push-ups in a supermarket. But there are so many ways that our behavior can be influenced just like this. We can take the examples that are used in store and think about how we'd convert them using new technologies in store, using the influence from the device we carry with us, the phone, the AirPods, whatever it is that we're taking into these environments to send messages to us, to display messages to us that encourage us to do behavior that we think is valuable. And we can think about using these same sorts of research, these same sorts of techniques that are used in store and put them online. There's no reason this stuff can't be used online, and vice versa as well. We could take the online research and put it in store. We can look at that at another time. So when you're in an environment, when you next go into the supermarket, take a moment and think as you're walking in, as those great big double doors are opening, and as you're looking at the flowers and all the other things that are set up in just the right place to tempt you and to frame the environment. Take a moment and think, what if this environment was changed so that the goals that I really care about were front and center? What would that look like? What I'd like to hear from is some ideas from you about how you'd like to see the physical environments that you go to re-engineered using technology, using mediated reality, using augmented reality from your phone, from the sounds that you can project through your earbuds. Whatever it is, I want to hear your thoughts on how you'd like to see the environment change. Because it's your life, and you're the one who has the greatest at stake when it comes to the outcome. So take charge.